everyone, I hope you're doing really well. I wanted to sit down today and share with you guys my 3 favourite online tools that I've been using these past few weeks to really get my students engaged with learning online, whether that is doing live lessons or whether that is doing remote lessons. And I thought it would be really useful to share them because they have really made such a difference in how I'm lesson planning and also just in terms of how my students are responding to the work. I think that they have responded so positively and they are so much more engaged than they were during week 1 of learning online. So yeah, if you do give these a go, then let me know. I would love to see how you're getting on with these, and if you want me to make a video going through any of these online tools in a lot more depth and share with you guys the behind the scenes of how I use them, also let me know by leaving a comment and I will make sure to make a video on that really soon. So the first online tool that I have been loving, and I have to say it is my favourite one, is essentially an add-on to Google Slides called PairDeck. And what this does is it makes your presentation interactive. So students will then be able to interact with that presentation by either, answering questions and typing, their answers to those questions, or by dragging things, or by clicking on them, or drawing and writing straight on the Google slide. And to be honest, it has revolutionized how I've been delivering my live lessons, but also those pre-recorded and asynchronous lessons. Students have been much more engaged, and also for me personally as a teacher, I feel like I have a much clearer idea of what my students know, what the gaps are in their learning, and what else they still need to learn to make progress. So it has been such a game changer. I absolutely love using PairDeck, and if there is anything that you need to try from today, it has to be this one. So the way that you get PairDeck to work is that you need to make sure you are on Google Drive, so make sure you're logged in with your Gmail account, and then on your Google Drive, if you've got existing PowerPoints, you just want to go ahead and upload those onto your Google Drive and save them as a Google slide. Once you've done that, or if you've got existing Google Slides, you just want to open them and then go on to add-ons, and as one of the options from that drop down menu you will see Open PairDeck. If that is not there, then just Google PairDeck and install it as an add-on, but it should be there. And once you've opened that, then you have a plethora of lots of different options of how to use PairDeck in your PowerPoint or in your Google slide presentation. And essentially you can use some of the templates that they've already got, or you could use the interactive functions, which is personally my favorite one. And you can do that for every slide, you can do that for a couple of slides. It's up to you how you want to use it. The key thing then is you want to present it by clicking on the PairDeck green present button, and that is going to generate a link for you to share with your students, and then your students will be able to log on to the presentation by having a tab of their own to work through. And so then what that means is the students can independently engage with the presentation by answering away and by dragging things, etc. And you will then be able to see their responses using a teacher dashboard. Now, the teacher dashboard is a wonderful way of collating all of the students' answers as they've been, typing away, and you can then give students immediate feedback, which is wonderful, but you can also, close any gaps, anything that you're noticing, you can address straight away any misconceptions. I just think it's just such a wonderful way of doing AFL, so assessment for learning, but also just to engage students and just to make them feel part of the lesson without it having to rely on cold calling. The other feature that I love about the teacher dashboard is I can access that even when the lesson is not live. So if I wanted to set one of these PairDeck Google slide presentations as a asynchronous lesson, so a lesson that is not live, I can still do that, and my students can work through that throughout the week, and I can then access that teacher dashboard and still see what the work has been for that week that my students have produced. And I can use that to, forward plan some lessons or to give them some feedback. And I just think, that the options are endless of how you could use PairDeck, and I think it has really, really made a difference to my teaching. The second online tool that I have really enjoyed using so far is Google Jamboard. I personally, as a teacher, I'm a massive fan of using whiteboards when I'm teaching in a classroom. I love the flexibility it gives me. I love being able to model how to answer questions or to summarize information, to synthesize it, to collate students' ideas, to do a quick quiz. You know, there are so many different ways of using a whiteboard. But Google Jamboard is really innovative in the way that it allows me to then share that whiteboard with some of my students, and so then they have editing rights and they can actually also, you know, write on that whiteboard just like I would be able to. I personally have loved using Google Jamboard, particularly for pre-recorded lessons where I want to just quickly show students how to answer a question. So I love using it for modelling, but I also like to do it as quick checkpoints. So I'll have a few questions and then I'll ask students to, you know, work through that question, and then they can pause and then they can unpause and check the answers. So it's a little bit like we're working together even though we're not live at the same time. And I do that by pre-recording that lesson by using Google Jamboard and my third online tool, which is Loom. I absolutely love Loom. It is essentially you know, an extension that you can add onto your web browser, and it allows you to record your screen. So whether that is a tab or the entire, you know, web browser or your entire desktop, it's up to you what you want to share. And it just gives you that flexibility to record something that you want your students to see. So for example, things that I have done in the past has been to, you know, give instructions for what I need them to do in that lesson. I will navigate through different tabs to show them. Or if I need to explain how to use a particular type of tool, like the first time we did PairDeck, I used Loom to explain to them how to use PairDeck and to also show them what I can see. But I think it's just particularly useful to record really key explanations from you as, you know, the expert, as the teacher, which maybe sometimes they don't have access to if you are setting them an independent task to do, which might just be, you know, working through a PowerPoint or watching a video from YouTube. I think it's just quite nice for them to be able to hear you, to see you, to connect with you, and for them to get that expertise from you. So my favourite way of using Loom is actually with Google Jamboard, because then I will explain the concept and then we'll move over to Google Jamboard. I will have you know, a question to answer, and I'll just quickly show them how they should answer that question, and then I will give them some additional questions to pause the video, to work through them, and to then unpause, play that video, which will be, you know, me going through the answers and getting them to self-assess their work. I think it is so useful. The feedback that I got from my students has been really positive. They really enjoy learning in this way, and I think it just gives them a little bit more autonomy, accountability, and it also builds their independence. So there we go, those are my 3 favourite online tools as of right now. I do have a really long list of online tools to try and experiment with and learn how to use and play around with. So I will be sure to give those a go and then also report back on what is successful and share those with you. But yeah, like I said, if you want me to go through any of these in a lot more detail and show you, you know, how I use them and a little bit of the behind the scenes, you know, feel free to ask me and I'll be sure to record that for you and share all of that information as well. So there we go, that is it for today's video. I hope that you have found it useful and, you know, that you try at least one of these online tools, if not all 3. But do report back and let me know how you find them, and I will be sure to make another video really soon. So I shall see you a bit later this week. Take care guys, bye!